This is Euro 1421. Bloody encounters from the olden days. Previously Austria and Portugal both squeaked through by a gnat's codpiece. Now the Swiss take on the might of Imperial France. Whether you call him Charles VI, Charles the Beloved or Charles the Mad, he's built up a mighty strike force of knights. The Swiss, led by some people, have gone with some very long poles. Seems like a very sensible tactic to me, but then I would be trying to compensate for something. Let's go and join John and Bevan at the battlefield.
On the right, the Swiss have deployed a unit of halberdiers, followed by a solid block of pikes, with the elite pikes in the centre, accompanied by the captain. On the far side of that block, there's another unit of halberdiers held back behind the front row. In the woods, a unit of light foot, and on the far left is their mobile shooting units. The French have held their impetuous strike force back to avoid the risk of any rash tackles, and they have pushed their defensive line forwards, with the mediocre swordsmen out on the flanks, and then the crossbowmen getting some shots in, and the solid knights unit in the centre. It's the Swiss to kick off.
Well, I'm just fearful for the Swiss because they're only a small little country and they're up against the might of the French.
French have got a lot of enemies though, haven't they?
Well, deservedly, yes. Yes.
Deservedly.
Well, we'll see what's happening. First move now. Swiss moving.
They're not holding back then, trying to get stuck in.
Yeah.
It's good to see. So the Swiss have sensibly put their light infantry in the woods, and now they've brought them out again.
Looks like it's a bit mountainous, this site of the battle. With forests and some rocky areas, as we'd expect in the Alps. No ski slopes as far as I can see. Perhaps it's the off-season for the tourism around here.
I'm not sure the ADLG rule set allows the choice of a ski slope as a terrain piece. I think it's just fields, vineyards, rough areas. No lava either.
I'll have a word with the developers.
How will the French respond to this? They've got some rather impressive looking mounted knights over there. They're moving forward with their infantry. What are the knights going to do?
The French striker has been ordered to push the Swiss wing back, but the remainder of the French strike force is holding for a counter-attack.
Well, the knights are pretty full of themselves. They kind of think they can win the battle on their own.
They haven't heard of Agincourt yet, have they? No.
They'll probably deny its existence afterwards as well.
Yep.
Probably wise.
Those French strikers, their performance hasn't been great over the last year. They're perhaps relying a bit too much on former glories.
When was the last time these two sides fought?
Well, there was a nasty punch-up in one of the towns last Friday night. I think it's more to do with the price of beer, I think, in Switzerland. Yeah.
Well, the French saying it should be expensive and the Swiss saying it should be even more expensive.
That Swiss light crossbow, that's a useful tactical move there. They're just carefully optimising the range there to make sure that they can get the shot in without any physical risk. And that Swiss line is just pushing and pushing up the pitch. And there's going to be a serious clash with the French in a moment.
Oh, some shooting.
Black dice for the shooting units, white dice for the targets.
First casualties against the French.
Swiss trying to win the game on their own. Or am I saying the Swiss light infantry trying to win the game on their own?
I was going to say, the Swiss are on their own.
French trying to rally their mediocre swordsmen.
And that French line is just not going to rally.
Two's not going to do it. Rallying just doesn't happen when you need it to happen, does it? It happens when you're already ahead. So the light cavalry doing some night bothering. In your face. In your visor, I should say. Now they're getting chased away.
They might be back later.
some of the French knights going forward.
I can see the sense in keeping the other ones back now.
French captain, oh, he's moving them up. He's moving them up in support.
They're not subtle, they're like attack monkeys. Like Wayne Rooney, really, aren't they? I think those light infantry crossbows are looking a bit scared now.
It's 1 goal apiece, and the Swiss are clearly intent on getting some fouls in there.
Oh my God, what a clash. What a clash, someone's going to get hurt.
There's no subtlety, just straight in.
Yep.
Route 1.
It's a bit concerning with those Swiss pikes.
Yeah, I think the Swiss view is that if the French don't have any players left alive on the pitch, then they can't win the game.
Is that we're going to kill one more than you philosophy?
The Swiss captain's right in the centre of the action, and the French captain is well out of it at the moment. That's got to be an advantage to the Swiss.
More light cavalry pestering.
Coming back for some more.
And back comes the Swiss win back. And you won't hit anything moving that fast. And that's the first actual casualty. That's the mediocre French out of the game. We'd better hope that this is fewer casualties than the bloodbath last time these teams met, and the time before, and the time before that. In fact, they've met 5 times this year, and there have been very few survivors.
First tackle's going in, is it?
Yes.
Dirty sliding tackles.
And that's more French that are out.
And French are off.
Oh,
Advantage to the Swiss.
This French line has got more holes than a Swiss cheese.
that must be how they invented it.
Swiss light cavalry off again.
Teasing them like a I don't want to say Amsterdam woman in a window.
And the French are following. Could be, yeah, halfway back to Geneva now.
And at 5-1 to the Swiss, you've got to ask whether there's any way back at all for the French now.
So is that the light infantry off, or are they just retreating?
Whoa, this is where the French heavy boys come in and hope to really get some strong tackles in now.
Yeah, they really want to be punching straight through the Swiss line there.
They've got a temporary overlap as well.
Yeah.
The captain's having a laugh if he thinks that he's going to rally them.
This is in marked contrast to the last game. All the subtle double outflanking, or 4 sets of outflanking. This is just straight in.
Yes.
And the French are finding it harder now with the gaps, and they're starting to fall apart all the way across the park there.
I'm not sure the French have thought this through. I mean, those Swiss with their 16-foot pikes, they're just getting speared here, really. And the Swiss coach is very enthusiastic about his victory here.
There's a picture of the Swiss player with a very understated celebration of particularly good round there. Oh, he's won already.
It's all over. Certainly is now. Yes.
Shit the bed.
It's all happened in a flash. Who would have thought that?
Well, it's all down to the finesse of the tactical command of the Swiss there in just charging.
I think there are just too many prima donnas on that French team, and they've paid for it. Rather than a lot of deaths.
Next time, Croatia take on Spain. Thanks for watching.